Good afternoon, everyone. I'm Diane Fields Reddish, the treasurer of the DFW local chapter of the Black Colleague Resource Group. On behalf of the BCRG, our officers and members, it is my pleasure and honor to welcome you to our first annual Black History Month program. This year's theme is of great significance to us. Later this year, we will celebrate the first full year of being recognized as a local chapter by the national chapter of the BCRG. To that end, we started to think of great firsts in African American history, and while many names came to mind, we wanted to reintroduce you to some remarkable people from our distant and even more recent history. Today's program, Pioneers Making New Black History, celebrates many that have been credited with being the first in various fields, respects, and disciplines. In fact, we are privileged to have our very own first, Davy Casey, the first African American Vice President and Chief Diversity Officer of CVS Caremark, whom we will hear from shortly. So sit back and relax and be prepared to be entertained and informed by colleague volunteers who are excited to present to you Pioneers Making New Black History. Thank you.
There's the usual suspects, right? Benjamin Banneker, Crispus Attucks, David Marshall, Rosa Parks, Dr. King, Malcolm X, and even more recently, some of the notables like Governor Paul Patrick in Massachusetts, the only black governor to be elected to more than one term. And then there is a very obvious and famous notable in the White House, in President Obama. When we think about the achievements of these folks, the reason why it means so much to us is we always reflect back on the price that was paid for us to be where we are today, and for those folks to have achieved what they have achieved. And how do we most honestly reflect back and celebrate and honor those sacrifices that were made for us, right? I think one of the things that we can all do, one of the more obvious things that we can do is go to vote. I always say, if you don't vote, you can't complain. So exercise your rights, exercise your power in the voting booth. The other thing you can do is educate yourself. You know how hard Black Americans have worked to get access to education. If you have the opportunity to learn more about your job, to learn more about the company, to learn more on a personal level, why not take advantage of that opportunity that others have had to pay the price for you to have access to? And I would say even a more practical way to acknowledge and honor the legacy of those who came before us is how you show up each and every day on the job. You have to ask yourself, am I doing the best that I can do? Am I the best version of me that I can be in a way that will honor those who came before me and the price they had to pay? You may not always be the smartest person in the room. I know I'm not. You may not always be the wealthiest person in the room. I know I'm not. So you can't always control those things. But what you can control is whether or not anybody will work harder than you. You can be the person in the room that you will say, no one is going to outwork me today. That is a way that you can honor the legacy of those who have come before us. So as you take time to celebrate Black History Month, and I'm sure you all have great activities planned, and it will be a great celebration, also think about the fact that it shouldn't only be relegated to the month of February. Black history is American history, and you should really think about how you show up each and every day to honor those who have come before you 365 days a year. So thank you, and enjoy your celebrations, and I look forward to continuing this journey with you.
As I walked through the streets of Chicago on this cold autumn day in 1853, I thought back on my past and how far I had come. Growing up to a father who was a freed slave, and a Scots-Irish mother, I realized that I was easily passable as a white man, but I self-identified as African American. As I walked through the streets of Chicago on that day, it didn't occur to me that I was going to make a difference. It didn't occur to me that on that day, I was going to make history. So as I walked through the streets and looked back on my life and realized I overcame a lot of adversities, a lot of different things. When father passed away, mother had to ship my siblings and I off to live with various members of our family. And even through those tough times, I still persevered. I still finished college. I was still able to get a great job at one of the biggest hospitals in Chicago. And on my way to work that day, as I walked through the halls, these white halls with all of these white faces, doctors, patients, nurses, I recognized that I was in a place of great power, in a place of great privilege. And on that day, it didn't occur to me that I would become a pioneer making new Black history. As I walked through the halls, my nurses' assistants and surgical assistants quickly grabbed me and took me into a dimly lit room. They gave me a file or a chart of a patient that came in overnight, James Cornish, who had been stabbed in the chest. I immediately knew what I needed to do, but I was a little bit fearful because doctors in Norway and Germany had tried very unsuccessfully. But even still, I knew what I needed to do. On that day, I made history. I was the first surgeon to successfully perform an open heart surgery. I am Dr. Daniel L. Williams.
Born in 1867 on Louisiana Plantation, I got my start by giving myself a start. I was given the name Sarah Breedlove. Until the age of 14, I worked with my sister on a plantation in the cotton fields until I moved to St. Louis in order to find a better job. In the 1890s, I developed a serious scalp ailment that took a serious hit to my self-esteem. I started experimenting with home remedy after home remedy, and even store-bought products before eventually I mixed together my own concoction. Now, some people like to think that I invented the straightening comb and even chemical relaxers, but maybe I should set the record straight. My mixture came to me in a dream, and I like to call it the wonderful hair grower. This scalp conditioning treatment worked so well that in 1905, when I married my third husband, Charles Joseph Walker, I started selling my own products. In order to demonstrate these products, I went door to door, from churches to lodges to anybody that would let me demonstrate my scalp conditioning treatment on them. And eventually, I was able to open up my own training school, in which I named Layla College after my one and only daughter, Layla. My daughter and I, in the midst of building my brand, we even participate in anti-lynching movements and even many other political campaigns in Harlem. I am one of the first Black pioneers of the hair care and cosmetic industry. When asked what my secret is in my rags to riches story and becoming the first self-made African-American millionaire, it's simple. There's no flower strong path to success. I am Madam Charles Joseph Walker, but widely known as Madam C.J. Walker.
You couldn't buy me, you couldn't boss me. And believe me when I tell you, they tried. See, being a woman in politics was hard enough, but being a Black woman in politics, that was even harder. See, I give a lot of credit to my parents as they gave me the gift of having my early education in the strict traditional and the schools of Barbados, which allowed me to be able to speak and write easily now. So much that it allowed me to write my book called Unbought and Unbossed. See, my career, I had very humble beginnings. And during that time, I fell in love with teaching children. So much that I was the director of the Madison Child Care Center. And then I went on to be an educational consultant before I got into politics. Now, my first foray in politics was when I was elected into the New York State Legislature in 1964. I then went on to be elected into the House of Representatives 4 years later. Oh no, I didn't stop there. I kept pioneering. I went on in 1972 to run for the Democratic Party nomination for the president, to run for president. So yeah, I kept going. So I'm a pioneer making new Black history. My name is Shirley Chisholm, and I'm the first Black woman to run for Congress, to be elected into Congress. Thank you.
Come on, dear. Hurry along. We have somewhere to be.
I'm coming, Ossie, I'm coming. They won't start without us.
Greetings and salutations to all. I'm Ozzie Davidson. This here is my lovely wife, Ruby Dee.
Hi, y'all.
Ruby and I are excited because 50 years ago this year, we were active participants in the Civil Rights Movement.
Active participants indeed. My husband Ozzie and I were privileged to have known Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. and Malcolm X. My husband gracefully eulogized his friend Malcolm in 1965.
That's right, Ruby. And it seems like it was only yesterday that we were marching on Washington for jobs and freedom.
Yes, Lord. Marching for my rights as a woman, to be afforded the same job opportunities as a man, and to be paid the same as a man.
That's right. Marching for our rights to be treated equally and fairly under the Constitution of the United States.
Yes, and we've come a long way. As we celebrate Black History Month and the pioneers making new Black, let's take a look back at the Civil Rights Movement that afforded us all the opportunities that we enjoy today.
These images of unity, great strength, and sometimes harsh adversities culminated in the Civil Rights Act of 1964. Let's take a look back at where we've been and what we have in common.
The Civil Rights Movement itself had an enormous broad impact on domestic legislation, especially during Lyndon B. Johnson's presidency in the 1960s and continues today. In addition to calling for social equality, many civil rights leaders drew attention to the fact that the nation's poorest residents were mostly Black. This reality, coupled with his predecessor John F. Kennedy's support of the Civil Rights Movement, left Johnson with little choice but to act. The Civil Rights Act of 1964, which Johnson worked hard to push through Congress, included provisions to outlaw discrimination based on not only race, but also on religion, nationality, and gender. The last provision contributes momentum to the burgeoning feminist movement. Moreover, Johnson's latter social policies, such as the War on Poverty and the Great Society, were effective outgrowths of the movement for racial equality. The Civil Rights Movement itself lost focus and dissipated in the 1970s. The effects of this concrete achievement have endured, not only for Black, but other marginalized groups in American society as well. At CBS Caremark, we too support the American dream for the betterment of our employees and the people we serve. For the entire movement to our corporate governance, and our commitment to cultural diversity and inclusion. We salute all of you in the month of February, Black History Month.
Past is over, you, things are made new, surrendered my life to Christ, moving, not going back, moving ahead, here to declare to you, my past is over in you, things are made new, surrendered my life to Christ, I'm moving forward. So I'm moving forward.
Stylish, graceful, and beautiful. All are the adjectives that describe the woman that I am. You see, for me, modeling did not happen by chance. Because as a young woman, my aspirations were to be a lawyer. And believe me, I would have made one stylish, graceful, and beautiful lawyer. But my life took a different route. While in college, I landed modeling jobs to pay for my tuition. And the rest, as they say, is history. I landed my first major assignment with Glamour magazine and went on later to become the first Black model to ever grace the pages of Vogue magazine. And I'm not just a pretty face. I'm also an author, singer, businesswoman, and I am Beverly Johnson.
My namesake was Jackie Kennedy, so I should have known that I would be destined for greatness. I played every sport imaginable, but eventually I found my niche in both basketball and track and field. By playing basketball at UCLA, that afforded me a full scholarship where I attended from 1980 to 1985. I made the decision in 1983 that I wanted to participate in the 1984 Olympics, and that I did. I was the first woman to receive Top Athlete of the Year for that year. And not only that, afforded on my whole career, I decided I wanted to become a portion, to play a part in the heptathlon. The heptathlon is an all-women Olympic event for track and field events. It's 7 grueling events. And I decided I wanted to do this because I didn't see any other woman who looked like me that did that event. Upon my Olympic career, I was awarded 6 medals, 3 of them gold. In 1996, I tore my hamstring. And even though I decided to compete, it was too much to bear, so I withdrew. That was the last Olympics that I played in. I am the first and only woman to have achieved a score of 7,291 points in the 1988 Summer Olympics. I am Jackie Joyner-Kersee.
Hello, I am a natural-born leader. I rose through the ranks of the United States Army, working my way up to becoming a 4-star general. I became the first African-American Secretary of State after serving as the chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff. Although I may not look it, I will be celebrating my 77th birthday this upcoming April. While I'm sharp as a tack, I still need my readers from time to time, so excuse me. Being a leader comes natural, and here are just a few of my rules to leadership. First of all, it ain't as bad as you think, and if you get mad, get over it. Always remember it can be done, and be careful what you choose, because you just may get it. You can't make someone else's choices for them. Check the small things, remain calm, be kind, and have a vision. And finally, don't take counsel of your fears or naysayers. In closing, there are no secrets to success. It is the result of preparation, hard work, and learning from failure. I am General Colin Powell.
I'm glad to be here at CTS Caremark and so glad that you're helping people on their path to better health. You know, since becoming the first African American First Lady of the United States, I've been committed to focusing on the health, wellness, and well-being of our citizens, especially our youth. I've even partnered with Beyonce to come up with a video. Y'all remember my Beyonce video? I've even planted a garden full of fresh fruits and vegetables at the White House. Now my husband, as much as I love to eat healthy and help people on their path to better health, he's been a little reluctant, but a willing participant. But enough about me. Are y'all ready to meet my husband? Great. Please join me in welcoming our President of the United States, President Barack Obama.
Now I know Michelle was talking a lot about making better choices and getting back on track with health. And I have to admit now, while squash and butterscotch casseroles aren't my best and my favorite, you can see the benefit of making other choices. So thank you, honey. I'm back in my earlier days in Hawaii, Chicago, as a young man from a biracial mother. Some would see that as adversity, but I see that as the man that shaped me today. I've done so much in my career from being a community organizer, a lawyer, a law professor, in both Illinois and U.S. Senator. But the turning point in my career came in 2004 when I gave that keynote address to the Democratic National Convention. You remember that? Would you say to me after that speech?
Of course I do. I remember it like it was yesterday. I told you to put down that Chicago pizza. But honestly, honey, it was just a foretaste of what was to come for you, for us, and our country.
Perhaps you're right. You saw more in me than perhaps I did. But I knew back then that there was more to be done. Even now, there is more to be done, and still left things unturned. While my administration has many ups and downs and successes and challenges, my most proud introduction today is to introduce affordable health care to all U.S. citizens. So you see, I am still making choices and helping others make choices to better themselves. So CBS, thank you very much. And for a couple of minutes of your time, me and Michelle are going to head back to Washington.
You're going to see our daughter Sasha performing her dance recital.
Premier for Blacks. Blackness is a title, is a preoccupation, is a commitment, Blacks. Art to comprehend in which you are to perceive your glory. The conscience shout, all that is white is great to be white. The conscience shout of the slack and black is great to be white. Thus, all that is white has white strength in yours. The word black has geographic power. Pulls everyone in. Blacks here, blacks there, blacks wherever they may be. And remember, you blacks, what they told you. Remember your education. One drop, make it a brand new black. Almighty drop. And because they have given us kindly so many more of our people. Blackness stretches over the land. Blackness, the black of it, the rust red of it, the milk and cream of it, the tan and yellow tan of it, the deep brown, mill brown, high brown of it, the olive and the ochre of it. Blackness marches on. The huge and pungent object of our prime outride is to comprehend, is to salute, to love the fact that we are black, which is our ultimate reality, which is the lone ground from which our meaningful metamorphosis, from which our prosperous staccato, group or individual, can rise. Self-shriveled blacks begin with the grunt, a marvelous concession. You are our custom and our foundation. Oh. All of you, you colored ones, you Negro ones, those of you who proudly cry out, I'm half Indian. Those who proudly shriek, I've got the blood of George Washington in my veins. All of you, you proper blacks, you half blacks, you wish I weren't blacks, Negroes and niggerines, you. So you're probably wondering who wrote that poem. And you know, let me share some astonishing facts about this individual. She was born in Topeka, Kansas, on June 7, 1917. At an early age, she moved to Chicago. She started writing and publishing as a teenager. What happened then? She actually started writing a series called A Street of Bronzeville, which she was nationally famous for. And that was in 1945. In 1950, she was the first African-American woman that won the Pulitzer Prize for her book, Annie Allen.
Unfortunately, she moved on, and she passed away on December 3rd, 2000. You may ask, who is she? Her name is Gwendolyn Brooks. Thank you.
On behalf of the Dallas chapter of the DCRG, we thank you all for taking time out of your day to come check out our program. Your support is greatly appreciated. We hope that you've been enlightened, informed, and empowered to be pioneers in your own right. So if you would please give a round of applause to